Hey guys, I'm finally here. It's been so long since I think I casted last. I think it's been like maybe 2 weeks, and then after I last casted, my voice was just dead. Like I suddenly got like way worse with my I got way worse with my virus after that. So luckily enough, the virus is mostly gone. I think I've still got a few kind of mini symptoms, but hopefully they're not going to cause too many issues, and I won't go too hard on my voice just to make things a little bit easier. But it's been a while. We're finally back here with some more STPL. It's been a while since we've seen the teams and everything, so I'm going to go through the rankings first of all, just so we can catch back up, because I know it has been a very long time. So let's have a look at the team rankings and see how things have been sitting while we've been away. I really hate the new Twitch dashboard, by the way, but as you can see at the end of the last cast, Soul, Valhalla, White Clan and IRK still holding up there at the top of the table. Ball team quite close behind, Naz close behind them. Naz and Red were actually tied up until they played up against each other when Naz won 4-0, I believe, so they've actually taken 6th place. EF, Clan Rev, aSh, NetWars, Nice, DM, and pSi Storm are hanging out there at the bottom of the table. But of course, at the very end of it, we will be having the top 8 teams going through to the playoffs. And there's only, I mean, I guess there's only technically after this day of games, there's only 5 weeks left. So we've not got long left. I know I'm a few weeks behind as well. There's been a few games that have been played in the meantime. But thanks for the welcome back, Sharkito. Means a lot, man. Yeah, it's good to be back. Now let's actually have a look at the player rankings as well, as that's another thing we haven't seen for a while now. This doesn't change too much week in, week out, but DeWall is pushing his way up that table, really joining the upper echelon of players in the STPL. You can see that DeWall is actually doing really well. 35 wins, 9 losses, a ridiculous win rate, and he's got one of the best versus Zerg win rates in the entire tournament. So DeWall very strong. Of course, today we are going to be seeing NetWars, so we could see something interesting happening here. Now the weird thing is, I guess it doesn't matter too much. No one will know. It's all good. But yeah, essentially, like, things are going to be a bit strange because we're going from having so many players for so long, and the top 10 are really starting to pull themselves away from each other. Now, in case you don't realize, the STPL does have its very own ELO system. So the ELO you'll see here is regarding all STPL events. Certain show matches haven't appeared in here just yet because they need to find a way to properly add them to the database, but that's not too much of a big deal. Now today, let's have a look at the teams we're going to be seeing. That's obviously the next important moment of the cast. In terms of our first match, okay, I really hate Windows 10 for the way it window captures. For this first match, we are going to be having pSi Storm versus aSh. Now, pSi Storm haven't been doing too well this season. They didn't do too well last season as well. They are the national Bolivian team, so not Bolivian, Bulgarian team. So it does make it a little bit harder to maybe get some of the stronger players. Obviously, there are some strong players in Bulgaria. They are all on pSi, but compared to some of the other teams, their players aren't quite the toppest level, but they still show some amazing games. aSh, however, are kind of the Phoenix team, I would say, because in Season 1, I'm not going to lie, they struggled really badly with inactivity. I was kind of worried about bringing them back for Season 2, but Logan took over, hit him up as their captain, with Dentag heading off to Japan for a while. And then they picked up a ton of very strong players, some of which we're going to be seeing today. So let's have a look at them right now. So as you can see from pSi Storm, they are fully Bulgarian. As I said, well, we're starting with Vesco versus Squall. Squall being from Spain, old TOT member. We're going to have Praise versus Dreamer in his EVP on Neo Outlier. Jim versus Hit 'em Up, aka Logan, on New Tornado. And Mitak versus TTF on Blitz X. So we're going to have 2 ZVTs, 1 ZVP and 1 ZVZ in this series. So Psystorm definitely relying a lot on their Zerg players. Hopefully that isn't going to cause too many problems for aSh's roster, but aSh's roster are certainly getting a lot stronger. TTF actually one of the players that qualified from Russia into the Corrupted Cup and was the player that knocked Artosis out of the group stage, so I know there's probably a few anti-fans of him, but he is a very, very good Terran player. So let's have a look at our first map here in today's cast. We're going to start with Desperado. Now, it could be a while since you've seen this map. Wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. STPL, I believe, is the only current tournament running this map. You have 2 gases in the main, no gas in the natural, which can lead to some very, very interesting situations, especially in this matchup we're going into now, which is going to be a ZVZ. Introducing our first player here, Vesco pSi. He's only won one of his games so far, but he's actually played against some of the strongest players in the league in Scan and Forever, and Tech is one of the strongest players on... Sorry, Forever's not one of the strongest players, but he's still very good. Tech is one of the strongest players on DM, and Horotos is one of the strongest players on Red. So he's had some very, very tough opponents, so don't judge him from that. And his opponent is going to be Squall, the ex-TOT member, alongside players like Eriador and many, many others. Norgrim as well. He's won one of his games as well, but also he's played against Marwyn and Bonneth. The game against Marwyn was actually very, very close. It was a really, really fun match, so if you didn't see that, do go back and watch that. It's all on YouTube. It's very, very well worth watching. Yeah, he played on Carthage 3. I can't remember his game against Bonneth, so I don't know if that was a good thing or not, but it has been a while since I've casted, so please go easy on me. Okay, let's get into game number 1. It is... I've already forgotten the players. It's Vesco versus Squall on Desperado. Okay, starting us off here in the top left-hand position, we do have the blue Zerg fighting pSi. It's Vesco. And his opponent spawning over here in the top right-hand position in the red, fighting for aSh. It's Squall. Now, I do want to kind of talk about what I did during the break and what's coming up next, but because it is a ZVZ, I mean, this could be a very quick game, and I've got to take very, very good care of what the build orders are, because that's one thing I always manage to miss in ZVZ. The game goes so quickly. Okay, I have no idea what this means, but Overlord first coming in for Squall. Looks like we're going to have Overlord first for both players. Now, is this going to be a 12 pull? No, Vesco is at the very least going for a gas trick, so going to get an extra drone a little bit quicker. In the meantime, Squall hasn't gone for that. Now, that does surprise me a little bit. The gas trick, more of an older trick that not many people do these days. I can't remember who I saw talking about it. I think it was Eon Zerg once. You know what? I can't remember. I'm just going to say something. I don't know if it's true, but I'm fairly certain. I saw a couple of Zergs discussing it, and from what I understand, it's not actually that much better than just waiting for the extra or for the Overlord to finish. So I guess we'll see if that comes in. Now, Squall is building a 10 hatchery here, or was this an 11 hatchery? I guess it was an 11. Yeah, it was an 11 hatchery here. So this is an interesting build, especially for this map. There's no gas at your natural, so not too important to take that. And it does kind of leave you a little bit more open. Now, we did see an 11 pool and 11 gas, I believe, come in from Vesco. And yeah, Doc, it's Desperado. Have you not... Oh, I guess it's because, like, before, whenever you watch STPL, you do it via audio only, don't you? Because you have to... You listen to it in your van at work, don't you? Which is kind of cool. I'm surprised you've actually got visual today, man. That's weird. Have you got the day off or something? Yeah, this is Desperado, one of the maps from one of the old MSLs. It's a really, really fun map. 2 gases in the main, relatively open center. Of course, this is a ZBZ. Neither player got the Overlord Scout advantage either, so both players are going to have to play a little bit more careful here, as neither player will really know what's going on. Now, Vesco is going for a second hatchery as well, but this will be in his main, which is a little bit worse later on. But especially at this point in the game, it's not too bad, because you do have that gas in your main, the second one. So it's very, very good for Muteless play a little bit later on. Lair is on the way here for Squall and Vesco. It looks like Squall must have got speed first, whereas Vesco delayed his speed, I believe, for the Lair quicker. I mean, there's no way speed is finished. I don't think that's humanly possible. I guess we'll see if the... yeah, there's definitely no speed from Vesco. That's a nice hiding place for a Ling though. Very, very difficult to see. Ah, you're working in a different city with a better connection. That's pretty cool. I can't really get away with watching streams at work. It's a shame. There's so much stuff that happens during the day when I want to watch, but I can't. Okay, Spire on the way for Vesco, obviously going to be a lot quicker. Squall does have speed first, but isn't going to be able to get up the ramp for now. Squall kind of building a few too many Lings here, but I mean, you do have the option of going for a Ling all-in. But given the fact your Spire is so delayed compared to your opponents, I mean, he has forced out 2 Sunken Colonies here, so that's a pretty big deal. But the trouble is, Vesco doesn't actually have that many Lings, so if Squall just decides to bust up this ramp, unless Vesco can get really good drone drills going, I think Squall can actually end the game with this. It's kind of crazy, but it is ZBZ. You never really know what's going to happen. Now, he does scout in, although he does see this anyway. Wow, there's even a 3rd Sunken coming in from Vesco. Vesco feels that this is just a big Ling all-in. He doesn't expect that he's going to be able to die to Mutalisks, given the fact he knows his Spire is so much quicker. So he is just going to essentially kind of all in on defense and say, well, if you can't kill with your Lings, I've got more drones. Wait, he doesn't. Of course he doesn't have more drones. He's built a ton of Sunkens. So yeah, I'm a bit confused by this build, but I guess Vesco maybe was overestimating how many Lings Squall was actually going to make. And I mean, Squall has a ton of gas right now. I know that Vesco has just started his Muteless production, but the drone advantage is really going to start to come into effect here soon, because, I mean, look at this. Squall is able to go for 2 gas. I mean, Vesco's building it now, but you can't really deal with that for now. He doesn't really have enough drones to mine from both of it. Squall actually takes the supply lead. He's of course up 2 drones, so that's going to help. Now, the Muteless count going to be very, very important here. Looks like Vesco did actually opt to go for 3 Muteless to begin with. Looks like Squall is going to go directly for 4. No, Squall is actually going to add some Scourge in as well. Now,
easily amused, huh?
Thanks, Abby, for the 4-month resub, man. Or 3-month resub, 4 months overall. Means a lot, man. Thank you for the support. Now, there is spores here for Squall. This is going to help with the air. I'm trying to think of the right way to describe this, but he's going to have the inferior air count just because his Spire was a lot later. But the spores definitely going to help him out, of course. With the spores, he can also opt to try and go for a few additional drones. Now, there's no kind of crazy carapace coming up here for Lings or anything like that, so it is just going to be air. He is going to get air carapace, which is pretty good, but Vesco already going for that, so Vesco's certainly looking to try and take this with the air battle. But if Squall can stay at home, if he can defend his drones, and of course use the Sunkens to it, or the spores to his advantage here, he's going to be in a pretty good spot. Now, wait, his... Ah, here we go. I was going to say, has Squall just not built a single Muteless yet? Now both players just kind of running their overlords away. Looks like Vesco does have a big Muteless advantage for now. It's only 3 for Squall, but he does have 6 Scourge, so depending on the engagement, those 3 Muteless could be very powerful. But Vesco just kind of scouting around with Lings as well, just making sure the Squall hasn't hidden another base somewhere. Now, has Vesco actually seen the natural expansion? I think he did with his Overlord a little bit earlier, so he does know what he's up against. But both of them actually even in drone supply right now. Neither player really willing to push forward at all, because ZVZ is kind of on a knife edge. Like, if you mess up the air engagement, you lose the game. So neither player will really want to do that. Now it looks like we do have 12 muteless against 10 right now, so Squall certainly in a good position. Vesco definitely does need to move in before it gets a little bit too late. +1 carapace is done. It's still only about 2/3 of the way done here for Squall, so this is the timing where Vesco has to move in and do some damage. And can he do it? He did build those 3 Sunkens earlier, and is that going to be a problem? Now, the one thing to note here is Squall's Spire is in a very precarious position here at the edge of the main, so if Vesco dives in, dives out, this could be a very interesting fight. Now, we do have 12 muteless against 12, and there's a ton of Scourge here, so all of a sudden, Vesco's engagement is not looking good. So many Scourge connecting, and it looks like Squall's done it. Great micro from him, able to get all of those Scourge to connect. And Vesco is losing every single muteless here. There's no spores back here at home. And Vesco is not going to be able to rebuild his air army nearly quick enough to defend against this. And Squall is going to take game number 1. But yeah, this is certainly not looking good for Vesco. I mean, I'm one to be very positive. But unfortunately, there's not really too much you can do here. The muteless are going to go down. You can see how much the +1 carapace is coming into effect, but it doesn't matter. GG, Vesco taps out. And Squall does do it. He takes game number 1 in favor of aSh. Well, that was the wrong screen. Okay, well, there we have it. Our first game back, it was the ZVZ. It lasted more than 6 minutes. That was almost 10 minutes in the ZVZ. That very rarely happens. I know not too much happened. I think Vesco was building up for timing, and he just didn't attack quick enough. But we are going to be heading into game number 2. It's going to be a PvZ between Dreamer and Praise when we get back after this short break. See you guys very soon. Okay guys, welcome back. We're here for game number 2. It's going to be Dreamer versus Praise, and it's going to be on our first, well, on our second map here. Let's actually quickly take a look at it. It's Neo Outlier. Neo Outlier, I would say, is, well, it is one of the more modern 3-player maps. Well, modern in terms of Kesper. It was the final Kesper used 3-player map. It was used in the final season of Pro League. It led some really fun games. We've had some amazing games on it so far in STPL. Protoss are currently 9-5 up over Zerg, but it's been pretty close. All the games have been fairly fun as well. Dragon versus Fairy was certainly a good example of that, where Dragon just kind of held on for as long as he possibly could and beat Fairy that way. So that was a really cool game. Let's have a look at our players here. Starting us off for pSi, it's going to be Praise. Now, Praise has only got an 18% win ratio, but he has played against some of the strongest players in the league. and he comes out pretty much every single week. So and he always has like really interesting games, even if he loses most of them. So kind of looking forward to seeing how that's gonna go. But I do need to be careful. I just started coughing again, so I can't get too excited, unfortunately. I've still got to try and train my voice back into it. But his opponent going to be from Russia. It's Dreamer for aSh. Now Dreamer was on MSJ last season. MSJ did drop out in the end of round 3, I think it was, and Dreamer joined aSh at the end of season 1. And since he's joined, he's done pretty well. He's lost against some really strong players as well. I mean, he lost against Scan and DeWalt. Not many people could say they haven't. But he did beat Jessica, who is a very good player. He also beat Chaylin as well, who's very good as well. So Dreamer, pretty cool Protoss player to watch. And he's actually going to be starting us on for aSh on the Christmas Cup. That's going to be coming up this Sunday at 2100 CEST. And thanks, Avi. You gave me an emote from your... Oh, that's actually really good Christmas emote. Thanks, man. I got that from your sub. Okay, let's have a look at our second game here. It's Praise versus Dreamer here on Neo Outlier. Okay, starting us off here in the bottom left-hand position, we do have the green Protoss fighting for aSh from Russia. It's Dreamer. And his opponent spawning over here in the bottom right-hand position is the yellow Zerg fighting for pSi. It's Praise. Now, one thing of note about these two players, Dreamer often has longer games, whereas Praise's games are often a lot shorter. Now, Praise used to be a Protoss main. He is now playing a Zerg, obviously. So the average game duration is including all the PvPs he was playing before. So gotta take that into account when we're thinking about his game durations and everything like that. But he's doing pretty well as Zerg. I think he's actually doing a little bit better as Zerg than he used to as Protoss. So that's always good to see. And Dreamer, of course, has been, I would like to say, on a bit of a tear recently. I know that's not necessarily true because he has lost a few of his games, but the games he's been playing have been really impressive. So I'm really impressed with how much better Dreamer has got over the last year. Because when he played for MSJ, he was relatively strong on their roster. They didn't have like an overly strong roster, but when he joined aSh, he really did start pulling out the wins, and it's really helped their team. So shout outs to him. Now it looks like Praise is going to go for 12 pool. Sorry, a 12 hatchery. I don't know if you'd call this an overhatch. I guess it is just a 12 hatch, but oh my god, is Dreamer really going to... Is Dreamer going to cannon rush this base? Oh my goodness. If he does this, this is going to be crazy. Can you wall this off against drones? Does that work? Well, I guess we'll find out. We've got drones coming up here. Oh, the pylon's been cancelled. I guess maybe Dreamer was trying to fake out a cannon rush, but I don't really understand what that would achieve. But I guess maybe he was hoping the Praise would pull a load of drones, and it didn't quite work, so that's going to be feeling pretty good for Praise, knowing that he's not getting cannon rushed. I guess you'd probably hide the pylon a bit better for a cannon rush as well. That is kind of a weird position to put it. Okay, so it was Forge into Nexus, so I guess despite the fact he cancelled the pylon, he did manage to skip out on the cannon first, and did manage to get a gateway up very quickly. This was due to the fact he scouted how late the pool was. Speed is on the way straight away, so it's going to be speed before lair here, and speed before third hatchery, so Praise may be looking to put on a little bit of aggression here. Now, aggression in ZVP is certainly something that I wouldn't say is super surprising at the moment. Zerg seem to be putting a lot of pressure on their Protoss opponents in pretty much every matchup. Now Dreamer has actually got 2 probes out in the middle of the map. I don't know if he expected one of his probes to die, or if he was just kind of scouting around for a 3rd base here, but kind of an interesting choice. The probe's going to get stuck. That was really, really unfortunate. But it happens sometimes. Now Praise is going to be going for a 3rd base, going for the one a little bit further away from his opponent. For Dreamer to actually attack this, you can either go through this low ground area and push all the way up, or you can go all the way up and through this low ground area. So definitely the best 3rd out of the 3 thirds in the middle for Praise to be taking here, because it's going to be a little bit easier to defend. But I do think that means we're likely not going to see any kind of crazy Hydra Bust build here, just because usually if a Zerg was going for a Hydra Bust, from what I've seen on this map, they'd take this base, just because it is a stone's throw away from their opponent's natural and main combo. So, hey Customuse, good to see you, man. It's quite early in Korea, isn't it? Like, isn't it like 5 AM? I think. I'm trying to remember what time Rapid used to cast with me. Okay, so Lair is on the way here for Praise. So 3 hatch into Lair, fairly standard build these days. Hydra Den coming up as well. Now, are we going to see a 4th and 5th hatchery, or are we going to see a kind of weird 3, well, I mean, I guess it's not going to be a 3 base muteless build, there's no second gas just yet, and the Hydra Den is on the way, so we should see the 4th and 5th hatchery coming up fairly soon. Yeah, there we go, there's the 4th hatchery. 5th hatchery is likely going to be placed over at the 3rd base, but Dreamer is doing what you can do on this map. He's going to take his probe and go through the mineral by the temples here. We'll see him do the same thing here. I did make a little tip video on how to do it. And watch this, you build a pylon underneath the probe, you cancel it, and you're in your opponent's main. This is a very good way on this map specifically. There are a few other maps you can do this, like Outsider for one, where you can kind of go in and get a scout at a time you wouldn't necessarily be able to normally get one as Protoss. So Dreamer's going to be feeling pretty good about scouting the lair, knowing that he doesn't have to worry about any major Hydra busts or anything. Even going to get up, see the 4th hatchery and the Spire and the Hydralisk Den, and Dreamer's going to be definitely feeling good about that. Yeah, Customuse, BJ, I know it means like broadcast jockey in Korea, but it means something quite funny in English. Which is what makes Cadenzi's Best BJ Award so funny to me. That's a funny name. Okay, so Templar Archives coming up here for Dreamer. Corsair is out on the map as well, doing a little bit of damage to the Overlords. Now, will Dreamer see these Hydralisks running forward? Is Praise going to show them? I guess he is. Yeah, Praise is going to show the Hydras. That is a very weird decision to show them, but I guess if you're not going for massive all-in, it's not a major deal. Now, is he going to be able to break through this? I don't think he is, so this is definitely a weird timing, a weird position to send those Hydralisks. I guess maybe he didn't want the cannon shoot them as they come up here, but to run the whole way around there is very strange. Now, 2 additional cannons have been forced, so the Hydralisks have done their jobs. Or the Corsair going to try and get away from these Scourge. Very important that you don't lose these early Corsairs. Oh, the Scourge manages to connect. Or as Rapid and I think it was Rapid and Nyokin in BSL was like, connection! But does manage to save the Corsair in the end, which is pretty good. Wait, is BJ, wait, hold on. So, Psycro, who I know is from the UK, not that it's in his name, I found out a different way. When you say it's an awful translation, like, broadcast jockey being BJ isn't really a translation, I guess. Like, it is a weird acronym, but because in Korea it's not the same thing. Okay, so double gateway being added on here. This is going to take Dreamer up to 4 gateways for now. Luckily enough, because he didn't take too much pressure early on, still the gateway at the front and the forge is still going. We've actually got +1 attack done for the zealots already. There's no +2 attack on the way yet, which is kind of interesting. Usually you'd want to try and get that straight away. I guess Dreamer did delay that a little bit for some reason, but Prey's kind of sitting back at home, just defending what he has. We're only up to 1, 2, 3. There's still only 4 hatcheries, which is strange. I'm not really sure what Prey's game plan is here, but looks like this DT is going to try and bring... Oh my god, did the DT get stuck there? Oh, I guess maybe it's going to help get his units out a little bit easier. Yeah, and I'm sorry, Custom Muse, they've ruined the best BJ award for you forever. Like, I know it's oh, best BJ. That's so funny. I know Cadenzi's made that joke as well, so I can't say I bought that. Well, I made that one up now. Praise is actually going for a big timing here. There's still no upgrades on these Hydras. There is, of course, range and speed. Wait, range isn't even done yet, so these Hydras are going to run in at the weirdest timing. I mean, this is nearly 10 minutes. And he's going to go for a big... Oh, okay, so he is going to go for lurkers. So that's why range was a little bit later. Looks like we are going to see just a big Hydra lurker contain. Initially, I thought he was just going to go for a big Hydra all in. And I was like, no, this doesn't make any sense. Yeah, English does ruin everything. I much prefer Japanese language. Oh, no. Oh, the DT gonna get in, gonna get 1 kill, 2 kills. Can it get 3? Yes, it can, but gonna run away before dying. Very, very important that the DT does get away alive, because it does make it harder to take this space and this base as our Zerg hero here. So another additional 2 hatcheries being added on at the top. That's gonna take him up to 6. Still no 4th base just yet for Praise, but there's no major rush for that because there isn't a 3rd base here for Dreamer. But obviously the more bases you get as Zerg, the better against Protoss. Now Dreamer could actually glitch through these minerals again and take one of these bases, but the one issue you have with doing that as Protoss is, oh, it looks like we had a bit of an attempt at a breakout here. Not going to work out. Still no +2 attack on the way, which is very, very strange here from Dreamer. I don't know if he just forgot it or... Definitely looking a bit strange. Okay, well... Dreamer Zealots definitely gluttons for punishment here. Now, those extra bases in the bottom left and the bottom right are very, very difficult to take just because Zerg drops can be so strong. And oh no, the Corsair's going to go down. Oh, they do eat a couple of the Scourge, so this... Oh no, the shuttle! Oh no, this is not good. The shuttle going to go down with 2 High Templarian and a Zealot. Praise is in a very, very good spot right now. That's exactly what he needed to happen. What a lucky pair of Scourge. Well, they weren't lucky, I guess, because he had them patrolling there. But what a good pick off by those Scourge. And I mean, Praise is pretty much playing this perfectly. I know I said before he was playing very, very passive. But this is a style of Zerg you can do. Now, interestingly, he has got all of his lurkers up front, so he's not going to be using his... oh my god, these storms. Dreamer with so many good storms, killing so many units. Is he going to break through here? I think he is, but no, the Observer went down. He's got no way of seeing these final lurkers. Oh no, the Zealots are taking so much... Wait, there is an Observer over here. Where is it? Oh, it's over the top of the army. Okay, so he is going to be able to break through the top, and this does leave Praise in a bit of an awkward situation because all of a sudden the units in this small little gap here are not going to help defend his bases, and he doesn't actually have that much back at home to defend. So if Dreamer jumps on this now, if he goes to push right this second, he could kill one of the final remaining bases here for Praise. But it looks like Dreamer is just going to try and secure a 3rd base for now. Has mined out these bottom minerals, which does mean this opens up another attack path for the Zerg later on. But so many Scourge patrolling back and forth here. He just doesn't want to. He doesn't want to get shuttle dropped whatsoever. And casting use, I think it'd probably be best to, like, I'll probably cast all the games in English anyway, because that makes more sense to me. But I can talk to you about it after the stream. Yeah, if you don't know who JSC9905 is, guys, he's Caster Muse. He runs the Caster Muse Star League. He also casts one of the big team leagues in Korea, and he's a really, really good amateur caster in Korea. So shout outs to him. Caster Muse Star League was really, really fun. If you didn't watch it, go back and watch the VODs. They were lots and lots of fun. Oh no, the Lurker's getting caught out in the middle of the map. This is such a bad position for Praise. He was in such a good way, or he was doing so well before, and then his units just keep getting caught out of position, and Dreamer is doing an absolutely amazing job to come out of this situation. He was stuck on 2 bases for so long. The 3rd base is secure now, getting tons of cannons up here. And look at this, the DT up the top, 6 kills. He's even getting at the hatchery. The Lurkers aren't burrowing. If the Lurkers burrowed sooner, he would have been able to hold on to this, but hatchery's going to go down. And look at this, Dreamer's going to get into the 3rd base. A huge storm on those Hydralisks. And I can already feel my voice going. And looks like Dreamer's going to be able to break the 3rd base. Praise, who was in such an amazing position before, is really, really struggling to keep up with Dreamer here. And 11 kills on this DT now. This is this looks like it's it. Dreamer looks like he's going to be taking game number 2. Now I do feel sorry for Praise. He was in such a good position, but Dreamer did so well to come back from that position, and he's now doubling his opponent's supply. He's got so many Dragoons, and he only just now got +2. Wait, he's had +2 for a while. I guess I just missed that coming in, but +2, such a strong upgrade for our Protoss players here. This Templar on 13 kills. It's going to go in and get some more drones for good measure. The drones unfortunately not running on top of the Lurker. Another 4 drones go down. A big army coming in here from Praise to try and defend his top middle base again. But unfortunately there's just not enough Zerg left. And Dreamer is in such a good position. There's almost nothing Praise will be able to do to come back from this. Now, once again, I like to be optimistic, but this is going to be difficult. Now, the one benefit I was going to say is that a lot of these Dragoons should be quite heavily bruised, but they're not. Dreamer has done such a good job of microing his Dragoons back before they take too much damage. And as I say that, he loses 3 of them, but I mean, he's in such an overwhelming lead right now that it's not a massive deal. Looks like Hive did finish and Adrenaline finished, which is why those Lings did so much damage. But there we go. The final vestiges is not the right word. The final parts of Praise's army do go down. There is a few Hydralisks here, but there we go. Praise thinks it's GG. At least I hope he's gonna say... Wait. Really? No, it's definitely New Outlier they were supposed to play. Oh, Dreamer. Art Dreamer. Okay. Well, that was game number 2. Unfortunately, Praise... I mean, Praise really shouldn't have got salty about the map there, because that map gave him such a strong Lurker contain. It's just Dreamer did way too good breaking out of it. There just wasn't enough units in the right places, and once Dreamer broke through, there just wasn't anything at Praise's bases to try and defend. This is why when you're playing that kind of turtle style, when you're going for a big Lurker contain, you would normally get a ton of Sunkens or something back at home. Because as soon as Dreamer's army broke out, as soon as it pushed across the map, there was pretty much nothing that Praise could have done there. Now that's going to take us into game number 3. It's going to be a TBZ when we get back after this short break. See you guys very soon.
Outstanding. Rock and roll.
Alright, we have a ton of Matcherino codes still to use, so I'm making this quick video to show you how easy it is to actually use them. So you click the Matcherino link, it brings up the Matcherino page. In the top right, you hit sign in. You sign in with whatever you want to. In this case, I'm going to sign in with Twitch. It'll take you back to the page, and then if you hit contribute, you put in the coupon code LSTPL. You can put a comment if you want to, and you can hit contribute right there, and it'll add it to the prize pool. Easy as pie. STPL does! Bio TVP. Wow! You got it! STPL does! Mass Scouts? No problem. Broadcast 3 nights a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 2100 CEST. Fantastic casting, fantastic production, fantastic prizes. Only here on the STPL. Did you know Reavers could be this radical? How did these lings even get here? All I know is that's one dead base. STPL does! Wraiths, Valkyries, Carriers, and Corsairs? Forget about it. You won't see that anywhere else. STPL does! STPL does! STPL does! STPL does! STPL does! DC's doing game-ending damage? Name a more iconic duo. We've even got Carriers in PvZ. How amazing! A global team league on the scale you've never seen before. Don't see this in BWCL, STPL does! All that and more. Only on this amazing 64-bit STPL. What BWCL don't. Impressed? I know I am. Why not support us on the link below? Patreon.com/. Okay guys, welcome back. We're here for game number 3 between pSi and aSh. aSh are currently at a 2-0 lead at the moment. Let's have a look at the map stats. And we are certainly going into one of the more standard maps from Season 3 here. New Tornado is a really fun map. Zerg versus Terran. Zerg are actually 6-3 up against Terran in ZVT. How often is it that you see a matchup or a map in favor of Zerg in a tournament? Not very often. Now TVP, let's just ignore that for now because that's 8-1 in favor of Terran. But ZVT, man, ZVT is where the action is. Should be a lot of fun. Essentially the way this map works, and the important feature, is the natural expansion has a ton of minerals at it. The natural has 2,000 minerals, I think it is, rather than the more standard 1,500. So a Terran on 2 base can hold on going bio for a very long time. There's almost an infinite amount of bio on 2 base on this map. And third bases, not too hard to hold for Zerg. There is kind of... I mean, the important thing to remember about this map is there's only 12 bases, so there is only 3 bases in each corner. But if you take another main base, getting another natural is very easy for Zerg here, so depending on spawns of course. So 4 bases going to be very possible late game for ZVT. Now this is of course STPL, we never know what's going to happen, and let's introduce both our players. For pSi, we're going to have Jim, one of the stronger players on pSi's roster, coming out here for Season 2 and doing a really good job. 57% win rate against some really strong players. Losing recently against Last from VT and Tai2, but did beat DK in the same matchup, so kind of cool. Now in terms of ZVT, he is 1-for-1, and his opponent going to be a Logan, aka Hit 'em Up, the captain of aSh. Very, very strong Terran player. I know that he says he like plays with a lot of anxiety when he's playing STPL games, or when he's playing tournament games in general, because I mean it is quite difficult. Like, you've got a lot on the line. Your team needs you to do well if you want to do well in the tournament. And this is something Hitmup has consistently done. He beat Bai in a TVT, he beat Favorite in a TVP, he beat Yeti in a TVP. Again, Zerg, he's currently 5 for 1 up. I mean, this is the perfect matchup for Hitmup to come out here and show his finesse. As we get into game number 3, it's Hitmup versus Jim on New Tornado. Okay, starting us off here in the top left-hand position, we do have the Red Terran fighting for aSh. It's Hitmup. And his opponent spawning in the 12 or the 1 o'clock position in close by ground positions. It's going to be Jim in the white from Bulgaria fighting for pSi. And T-Bell forever, when you say STPL equal... Oh, the STPL stands for Shinhan Tank Pro League. But obviously, it's a lot easier to say STPL, so I prefer saying that. Looks like they played a little bit of lag. It is Canada versus Bulgaria, so it is a strong connection. But essentially, it looks like they both, well, Hitmup said it's fine. Hopefully the lag wasn't too bad, but Hitmup is on 600 APM, holding down that button, doing a really good job getting his APM super high. Now, if he is actually spamming to 600 APM, then that's really, really impressive. Like, yeah, he's like, his keyboard's smoking right now, where, as Hellgated K says. It's like keyboard's catching fire, it's like hands are catching fire as well, and his like robotic arms are like going crazy, because he's actually the Terminator, in case you didn't know. Now it looks like Jim is going to go for a pool and gas first. Now this is kind of expected from Jim, I would say. If you've not seen his games before, he does play a little bit more aggressive. One of the things to note is when you look at his actual game duration, his average game duration versus Terran is only actually 12 minutes. I know he's only played 1 game. Hitmup's played some more games, and his average game duration is only 14 minutes. So could be in for a quick one here, but you never know what's going to happen, as I said last game as well. Last game, I thought the game would be a lot quicker than it was. We had like nearly a 20-minute game, so... we could be good going from here. Now, it's kind of nice that we're getting a few longer games for me to come back and cast. Now, the annoying thing is this week I've got to wake up a lot earlier for work, so if they're too long, I could be in for a little bit of trouble. But this is only Series 1 of 2 today. Obviously, if we have 2-hour games from this point, then I'll probably have to do our other series tomorrow. But I've been delaying so long, I just kind of want to get back to casting properly, because I'm out of practice, it's difficult, and there was a lot of, like, even though I know I've set everything up to just work, there was a lot of worry everything was just going to break. I don't know why, but that's what anxiety does for you guys, so... If there's any other anxiety sufferers in chat, I know how you feel. It's not great. But the good thing is there's so many of you wonderful people to keep me company throughout this journey. And we're over halfway through the STPL Season 2 now. I know we did have like a... Well, it was kind of a 3-week break. It was more like a 2-week break with like a couple of casts in the middle. And Marine Medic Orgy, if I could quit my job for STPL, I probably would do. But unless someone can pay my salary, it's going to be difficult, because I'll lose my house if I don't have my job. So if you do have like an obscene amount of money, if you're super duper rich and you want to help bankroll my STPL work, then please feel free to sub on Patreon for a crazy amount of money. and then you can pay for my bills. It's all good. Or if you want to support for a little bit less money, but still want to help towards the goal of me taking this more full time, there is a Patreon goal of how much money I need to earn to cut a day off work per week. So it's not my full salary worth, but oh, nice pick off by Jim on that the Vulture. But of course the problem is that's a lot of lost mining time. So hit him up in a pretty good situation. Yeah, the Vulture didn't get that much damage done, and the drones with a very, very nice nice block there. Now the command center was delayed for this build. It was in fact a 2-factory play from Hit 'em Up, which is very, very strange. But going for that armory because he will need to make sure that he gets those Goliaths up very, very quickly. It's going to be 2 Hatch Muta coming in from Jim. Now, is he going to go for armor first? Armor first, certainly my preference against Muteless. I know that used to be Fantasy's preference back in the day as well. But looks like he's going to delay it a little bit. Maybe go for turrets first. Although going for that +1 armor, very, very important. You can go for +1 attack, but it doesn't do all that much against Mutalisks. It's better if you're kind of against a mix of Mutants and Hydras. And please don't mention the result of the election. I was not happy on Thursday. Ooh. Okay, turrets perfectly timed. First Goliath coming out at a pretty good time as well. My keyboard decided it wanted to go crazy there, but that's all good. The thing with 2 Hatch Muta is obviously you do start with less Mutalists overall because you're not building 9 Mutalists at a time. You are kind of incrementally adding them off of 2 base, so it's going to be a little bit before you get critical mass here, and that does give Hit 'em Up a chance to get himself ready. Now, opting to not go for a quick upgrade after this armory is very, very surprising in TBC, so... Yeah, just, I know it's not usually a good idea to bring up politics, but I am incredibly left-wing, so if you don't agree with my ideology, feel free to say, but what can I say? I'm a compassionate person, and that's why I wasn't happy with the election, so we won't talk about the election. That's bad news. But the Mutalisk gonna fly in, get 3 SCVs so far. Does need to be careful. 4th SCV going down, 5th SCV going down. Gotta be careful. There's a lot of turrets, a lot of anti-air. 7 SCVs going down already. Nicely done by Jim, and he's actually going to be able to sneak out, get another 2 SCVs. Jim doing a ton of damage with these Mutalisks. Nicely done, and only losing a couple of them. Really, really well done there. And that's the kind of damage Jim needs to do. Now, Jim hasn't gone for the crazy all-in variant of this 2 Hatch Muta. He is going for a 3rd base. Pretty soon after that, interestingly taking the natural first, but you see that there's 2,000 minerals on this natural. If we look at the mineral, okay, we can't see the minerals in the other main, but essentially the minerals in the main are only 1,500 to begin with. So I guess the natural's pretty good if you want to get a lot of lings later on. It does obviously give you the option of going for a lot of hatcheries off of that base as well. So Mutalisk still continuing to try and poke in, do any damage that they can, but Hit 'em Up slowly adding up to probably 5 factory here. You can go 4 factory and expand. That wouldn't surprise me, but Hit 'em Up is definitely more a timing attack player. And there we go. The 5th factory is coming in a little bit late, actually. And I definitely would have preferred these upgrades to start a lot sooner. Because by this point in the game, I believe he could have been working on +1 attack after +1 armor. So that makes his timing a little bit less strong. I think you want both upgrades by about 11 minutes, I think it is, Cadency said. I need to fact check that. Someone needs to make like a fact check Kicks Twitter or something, and then any statistics I say or something like that, someone needs to go and look through and check if I'm actually correct. Yeah, this is definitely a proper mech timing, but the issue is like the upgrades are late, and he doesn't have Academy, so he's not going to be able to scan ahead of what he's doing. But if he can push right now before the 3rd gas really starts to come into effect, then that is definitely the timing you want to hit as a Terran player. But this wall is actually really starting to hurt him up. This is one of the problems with walling in. Mech units are so dumb. Like, I know people talk about Dragoons being stupid when it comes to pathfinding, but Goliaths suffer the same fate as Dragoons. It's not easy to move Dragoons around, especially if you've got a building blocking you. But looks like we are going to have constant production off of these factories. +1 armor, still not done. Imagine he could be about, well, he would have been done by now with +1 armor, and he would have been about a third of the way into +1 attack, I think, at this point. And that would have made this timing a little bit stronger, but Hit 'em Up definitely needs to look to either expand or push, because just building up units, not really going to do too much against him right now. Jim is doing a really good job not overdoing it on units. Third base is up. There's no Queen's Nest just yet, so there's going to be no hive for a while. So it is just going to be kind of mass muters, which isn't too much of a big deal. Yeah, Goliaths can get that. Essentially, Synthect. Any ranged unit, I think, can get that glitch. It's more common, I think, in Marines, Dragoons. Goliaths, it doesn't help, or doesn't happen to as often, I don't think. But it is just kind of a ranged unit thing. Now, Vincent Rose said, where are the lurkers? Lurkers, when you have Dark Swarm, are pretty useful against mech, but until you get Dark Swarm, they don't do anything, because Siege Tanks, Goliaths, both of them very, very strong at pushing through those big lurker fields. And Mass Muter is in fact a lot better. Now, +1 Carapace is done, and this is going to be part of the problem. The upgrades aren't done here, so yeah, he's got +1 up plating even, but these Goliaths are going to be doing such little damage to these +1 Carapace Muters that this could be a bit of an anti-timing here from Hit 'em Up. Now, of course he's going in as this upgrade finishes, that's when you want to push, but is Jim going to have enough Muteless here to hold on to this? The Sunkens at the front going to be kind of used to block, but look at this, the tank is in range of the gas, which makes this a little bit harder for Jim to be able to hold on to this. You do need as much gas as humanly possible. Now, still no Queen's Nest, so Hive is going to be a long, long way away, and there's going to be nothing but Muteless here to try and defend against this. More and more reinforcements coming in. The Muter's going to dive in on top of the Goliaths. Let's actually have a look at the health of these Muteless. You can see they're doing so much. And look how little damage these Muters are actually taking from all of these Goliaths. I know there is more here, but like this is going to get cleaned up no problem. This is the problem with the timing where you go for armor, but you do it way too late. The Zerg gets Carapace, and all of a sudden all your Goliaths die. Now if he can kill the natural expansion, he can still salvage the push, but he needs to kill the hatchery. If he doesn't get this hatchery now, and if he doesn't save at least some of these tanks, this wasn't worth it for Ziggy. He killed 300, or not Ziggy, Hit 'em Up. I'm thinking about Net Wars, because that's the next series. But look at that, really, really nicely cleaned up by Jim, really showing how strong Muteless can be against unupgraded Goliaths. And just imagine if this was done already. That would have been a fight that I think Jim wouldn't have had any chance of winning. I don't know if that was maybe Hit 'em Up not only being down in upgrades, but also building maybe a few too many tanks. I mean, I guess it did work out in the end. He did kill the hatchery. But I mean, for 300 minerals, is Jim really going to worry too much about that? I wouldn't have thought so. And a lot of the Muteless actually got left over, so he's still in a position to stop Hit 'em Up from being able to push again. But Jim needs to be careful. You can't afford to just fly in and lose everything, because even though Muteless is strong, like when you get that many Goliaths all of a sudden, I mean, you're eventually going to lose all the Muteless, and if you lose the Muteless, you've got no defense. So he is going to pull back, maybe a little bit too late, still on a roundabout control group of Muteless, so maybe not the end of the world, but certainly not a position he really wanted to be in. Okay, I just heard the weirdest noise through my headset. I have no idea what that just was. One sec. Whatever it was, I can no longer hear it, so it can't be important. I know it wasn't my cat, which is the important thing. Lottie is safe and sound behind me. Well, she's not right behind me, she's behind the green screen, so I can't tell, but I'm fairly certain she's okay. Now, is there a Queen's Nest coming in just yet? Not yet, but there is a 4th base coming up. And a couple of Sunkens coming in here. He needs Sunkens at his front, because even though he does have a ton of Mutalisks, the Goliaths will have +1 attack eventually. And then that timing that I thought he was going to hit earlier is going to come into effect now. Is there +2 carapace? Yes, there is 2-1 upgrades on these Mutalisks. Wow, this is a ton of damage going to be going down on these Goliaths. And the Goliaths, I mean, they're not going to do too much against these Mutalisks. Here we go. Let's have a look at the damage. There's not really too much damage coming in. A lot of the Goliaths are going down. A lot of the Mutalisks are surviving. And these 1-2 upgrades for these Mutalisks are doing so much. But is there just too many Goliaths? Nice micro by Hit 'em Up. Gonna push some of these Goliaths down. Save some of these Goliaths even. But the Sunkens at the front gonna make it so hard for these Goliaths to push in. And it looks like Hit 'em Up is going to try and go for a different angle. You can see Hit 'em Up scanning around, sees the base here, but he doesn't see the natural, I don't think. So he doesn't know that there's a 3rd base. Maybe he thinks he's further ahead than he is, but these Goliaths are going to run in and they're going to find themselves in a very weird situation. Now, Jim is transferring some drones in a very weird way. I'm luckily enough saving 2 of them. But here we go, the Goliath's going to move in. Are they going to be able to break through this? I don't think they are. Sunkens, very good against Goliaths, especially with these Mutalisks to support. And as long as Jim engages under the Sunken, or over the Sunkens, I don't think Hit 'em Up can break this position. Jim losing a ton of his Mutalisks, though, does need to be very careful. Now, still no Queen's Nest coming up just yet. 4th base is done. And what's he going to be using it for? More drones, more economy. And I mean, Hit 'em Up now has 1-1 on his Goliaths. They are going to be doing pretty respectable against Jim's units. Now, Hit 'em Up is going for a 4th base here. Going to try and take that top middle base. Has his 3rd base coming up down here as well. Now, the Mutalisks not really in a position where they can do too much damage now. The Goliaths are actually getting kind of out of control here. But there is 3 Sunkens, 4th, or Queen's Nest at the front. But look how quickly these Goliaths are dying to these Sunkens. I mean, it's still not too bad. And look at this, he's broken through into the natural again. The Mutalisk's going to try and fly in, but there's no Sunken support. And it's going to be nothing but Goliaths against Mass Muta, and I just don't think the Mutalisk numbers are there anymore. Look how quickly they're going down. GG. Hit 'em Up takes game number 3 and wins the series for aSh. Now, compared to the other games, I think that was definitely a lot closer. But unfortunately, Jim he lost too many Mutalisks throughout the engagement. Then I think he spent a little bit too much time trying to over-drone. Now, of course, this is the STPL. If you've never seen the STPL before, regardless of what the score was after 3 games, we will head into the 4th game. It is going to be another TVZ because every single game counts towards the final rankings in the STPL. Hit 'em Up, of course, does win that game and the series for aSh. We're going to be heading into game number 4. It's going to be TTF versus Mitak when we get back after this. See you guys very soon. Did you know it was possible to drop behind the naturals in Fighting Spirit? It's a bit finicky to land in the right place. You essentially need to... There's very specific spots in each of the spawns, which I'm going to try and show you here.
Hang on, we're in for some chop. I copy that.
There we go, there's one. So I believe there's actually more spots than this, but essentially it's quite hard to do. So you've got one here, I found 2 over here. There's also 1 here as well. You can also drop, I think, in this location. One thing to point out is the ghost cannot actually move, but of course what it does give you the option of doing is it allows you to nuke. Is already at DeWalt's front door. DeWalt has absolutely no idea this is happening. A lot of Ceres units did break through the other power generator, but finally, oh my god, the Corsair sees it. But is it a little bit too little too late? DeWalt is a man who has incredible micro against Zerg, so let's see if he can hold on here. He's not going to be able to hold the temple at the very least, so... And there's going to be speedlings flooding across the map very, very shortly. Now, Corsair's not going to help. It's going to be a scout coming in. A scout's like the only option he has. The Zealot, for some reason, is moonwalking on top of the Dragoon. Nice probe drill. Actually doing a really, really good job there, but is it just too little too late here? How is DeWalt going to hold on to this? Seri has lost one of his only overlords, though. He's going to lose his other ones. And DeWalt's actually not doing a terrible job. He's holding on. He's not taking any probe damage. He is now supply blocked. So both players are going to be supply blocked here. The cannon is going to come up in the mineral line. The Seri is so unbelievably supply blocked. We're not going to see any additional links coming from him. And DeWalt is holding on. It's 21 probes against 8 drones. The pylon's coming up. He's going to have to repower all his buildings. But there's a cannon here now. The probes are still alive. 20 probes. DeWalt holds. A scout as well. Insult to injury here for this failed attack by Seriosity. DeWalt was perfect micro. Holding on. Seri once again trying to build overlords, but they're going down to a Corsair. And even the gateway is going to survive here. And, I mean, DeWalt, this is perfect for IRK. They needed this. They struggled at the beginning of the season. They came back, and they have done a fantastic job. GG, Seri taps out. DeWalt takes game number 5 and gives the series win to IRK. Okay guys, welcome back. We're here with game number 4 of pSi versus aSh. We are going to be heading into our 4th map here. We won't go into the players too much, especially, I guess we will. We'll do it fairly. But let's actually have a look at our map first of all. It's going to be BlitzX. Now BlitzX, one of my favorite maps in the map pool. Terran are currently 3-0 up against Zerg. But the games have been a little bit one-sided so far. Medina versus Chalin was the closest one. But really, a really, really fun map. Kind of a lot like Fatal Combat. That was one of the ASL candidate maps. It did get kicked out in the map contest, but I did use it in the STPL Captain's Clash. You never know, we may see it back in the pool again because I love maps like this with close by air, long by ground. Let's introduce both of our players. For pSi, it's going to be Mitak. Now, Mitak, one of the more consistent players. I know he's only got 29% win rate, but I'm fairly certain he's played in pretty much every single match for pSi. So really, really cool. And he actually went out specifically and got this photo taken. And I love this photo so much. So big shout outs to Mitak for taking it seriously. And the pickaxe is amazing. I agree with Hellgated. But this is a really cool map for CVP. But this is a TVZ, and his opponent going to be TTF. You may not know TTF. If you don't, he's one of the more old school Russian Terrans. You would have seen him more recently in the Corrupted Cup, where he knocked out Artosis from the group stage. So maybe he's got a few anti-fans. But his only game so far has been a TVZ, which he did lose. So this is looking pretty good for Mitak, at least statistically. As we get into game number 4, it's going to be Mitak versus TTF on BlitzX. Okay, starting us off here in the top left-hand position, we do have in the wonderful magenta fighting for pSi. It's Mitak. And his opponent spawning up here in the top right-hand position. It is in the blue fighting for aSh. It's TTF. Okay, so we've seen some weird games so far. The last TVZ was certainly one of the weirder ZVTs you will see, where one player just goes mass Mulisks. And just tried his best to overcome a Meching Terran, but unfortunately it did not work. Now is Mitak going to go for a 12 hatchery here? Wouldn't surprise me too much. The important thing to note about the way this map functions is you do have this very small gap in the middle. Only small units leading up to Zealots and Hydralisks can get through there. Vultures can't, and neither can anything bigger than a Vulture. So makes it a little bit easier to defend, but of course if there was a proxy Rax coming in, this would be quite difficult. But luckily enough for us, of course, as the all-seeing, all-knowing observer, we get to see that TTF isn't doing that. So Mitak gonna go for a quick drone scout just to make sure. Needs to be very careful, especially when you're going for a 12 hatch. You don't want to get caught off guard, and a spawning pool coming up immediately after. Okay, so we've got a pull into gas, so speed or lair very likely here, not opting to go for a third hatchery before that gas. Not too surprising in the modern meta. TTF, however, is doing something quite surprising. More recently, going for mass mech has been a lot more popular, and this is definitely a good map for it. It looks like TTF wants to go for a 1 Rax fast expand now. Let's see if he builds an additional barracks, because if you go for a second barracks here, it does mean you can go for 2 Rax Academy. Wait, this is such a weird build. Is he gonna go mech behind this? This is such a weird thing to do. Why would you lift your barracks up when you've only got 1 Marine? I guess the thing is, because you've got your... Oh my god, this SCV. Look at him. He's punching this spawning pool to death. He doesn't care. Who needs a Marine? He's got the Robocop over here, getting ready to take down the establishment and the spawning pool. But speed is on the way, lair is on the way, so it's going to be 2 hatch Mulisks for TTF. Now, flying his barracks for so long means that he doesn't have that many Marines, and going for such a early gas. Well, it's not really early, that's the problem. Like, if he goes into a factory here, yeah, his Goliaths are just going to be too late. I think he may just die to Mulisks. I don't know how you can hold on to Mulisks when you go this build. This was such an odd decision. Like, this factory is way too late. Like, I don't understand how it was so late. He went for 2... depots after, well, he went for a second depot after the barracks, of course. He went, oh dear, this is not good. Four Ling's gonna cause you a lot of hell when you've only gone for 3 Marines. Lottie just made her appearance to go eat some of them, but there we go. We're gonna see double factory. The armory is nowhere near complete. You can't actually start it until this factory's done, so the spire should already be on the way. Yep, there we go. Is this timed out perfectly and I'm just being really silly? I'm fairly certain you can't get Goliaths in time to defend against Mulis with this build. I mean, TTF is defending well against a possible Lin, but Lin isn't going to be a problem. Now, Mitak is actually going for a 3rd base down here in the bottom left, so that is a little bit of a kind of a relief for TTF, I think, if he scouts this, because when you go for the third hatchery that quickly, the Mutalist count isn't going to be as high as quick. So the Armory about halfway done. The Spire is just about finishing up, so the Mutalists are going to start immediately here. There we go, 3 Mutalists in the main. Wait. That's Overlord drop, isn't it? Are we going to see like some crazy... Oh, the Lings in the natural. Get a couple of these SCVs. There's only like 4... Yeah, there's 4 Marines overall, so this is definitely a weird situation. I mean, that has to be speed. Or is that speed? But why would you get Overlord speed in a TVZ like this? That's got to be drop, right? Am I just being silly? It's been so long since I've casted a Zerg game, I've forgotten what their upgrades look like. I'm fairly certain that's drop. I mean, drop is good on this map, but you need Mures, you need Hydras, or sorry, you need Lurkers. And there's no Hydras then or anything, so... I guess we'll find out in a second if the Overlord starts zooming around. I guess we'll never see one move. Where's the Overlord being used? Oh no, it was drop. Yeah, I was right. So he's going to go for Lurker drops behind this, most likely. The Goliaths do finish in time, but I feel like Mitak delayed his Mutalisk, so I don't think this is the best barometer. But let's check the upgrade timing. Yeah, the upgrade timing for TTF a lot crisper. Getting that upgrade immediately. Going for attack first. Does mean you can push a little bit sooner, but you do really want that armor as soon as you can. Now, is Mitak going to go for +1 carapace? Yes, he is. So +1 carapace definitely going to help out. Looks like a vulture did go down here. It is on 6 kills, but that was from the Lings earlier. Only a single drone did go down there. But could he get another drone over here? This could be quite a good pick off. No, he's not going to be able to get another drone, unfortunately. But is going to scout the natural, see that the second gas is, of course, mining, see the drone count, and see, more importantly, the Mutalist count. It kept the Mutants away from his base. So there we go. Also, in case you're watching on YouTube or Twitch when they remove comments, Invidentia said an amazing idea. You drop a drone, you build a hatchery in his main, and you start sunken pushing. That would be so sick. I really want to see someone do that now. Now, is there a Hydra Den yet? No, there's still no Hydra Den. So what was dropped for? Unless that was a mistake. Did he build that by accident? I just don't understand what the purpose of going for drop at that specific timing was. It delayed his Mutalisks, and then the harassment that he had the opportunity to do, he just couldn't do. And unlike in the game we saw from Jim, where Jim did a ton of SCV damage, Mitak's just found nothing. TTF is almost doubling his worker supply. And things are definitely looking a bit funky here for Mitak. Yeah, and it looks like a lot of people are saying it was from misclick. Now, I mean, going for a Lurker drop would actually be good, but look at this. Four vultures moving down here. Speed is done. 3 drones going down already. 4 drones. And he is going to be able to head up to the natural as well. There's not actually that much defense here. The Mutalisks are going to be able to jump on these vultures, so they are going to clean these up. But losing those 4 drones is a pretty big deal when you're already below in resources. Now, looks like we do have around about 2 full control groups of Mutalisks here, so this is when things start to get a little bit scary for the Terran. +1 attack is done. +1 armor. Oh, +2 attack immediately, so skipping armor completely. Interesting move, but you know what, that could work out here against the +1 carapace Mutalisks, but he does have to survive long enough for that to come into effect here. Double control groups of Mutas here. Let's see what the micro is like. It's very difficult to try and engage into this with 2 groups of Mutalisks, but there's not actually that many Goliaths here. And oh, could he get the dropship? Getting that dropship would be good, but diving on top of the Mutalist for now, diving on top of the Goliaths for now, it's actually easy to take a look at the Goliath health. Just because there is so many Mutalisks here. Gets the first vessel. An incredibly good pick off here. And Mitak is doing tons of damage. This is the damage he needed to do, and this was the perfect timing. Just as +1 Carapace finishes. And now look at this, he's going to have free reign over the main. Oh no, he's going to get the armory before +2 attack can finish, and also this is going to block any additional anti-air coming out of TTF, and without the vessel, without the irradiate, what does he really have that can stand up against this many Mutalisks? He's going to try and panic build turrets, but turrets aren't going to help you in this situation. He's going to lose his main base, I feel. And if you lose your main base in this situation, there's just no coming back from that. Even going for the engineering bay is Mitak. He's just locking TTF out of the air race here. But Mitak still does need to be careful. There's actually a decent number of turrets now, so no further damage is going to come into the main mineral line. He should just focus the turret. He should focus the factories now, because without any factories, TTF isn't going to build any units, and without any units, you can take the whole map of Zerg. So, I mean, Mitak is taking a ton of damage on his Mutalisk here, but there is just so many of them. Does it really matter? Yes, it does. Oh my god, the repair on this final turret doing so much damage. Why didn't he just focus the factories? Is TTF going to hold on here? This is a crazy hold if he does. The Goliaths have done so much damage, but the main is still being ravaged. The command center gonna fly away. The engineering bay gonna be focused down again. But I just feel like he should be just attacking the factories. He's gonna go for the other armory. It's not gonna finish. There is no armory in the natural. TTF is in such a bad position right now. He's got absolutely nothing that can deal with this. He's going for another vessel. The vessel is going to get sniped immediately. Now this Vulture's trying to run through the middle of the map, but unfortunately for TTF, that gap is there, which does block him. And he's just been so busy trying to deal with the stuff in his main, he's just unable to do anything about it. The vessel gets cancelled, the factories are flying away. And TTF is relying on nothing but his anti-air and his natural right now. The dropship working as a little bit of a decoy there. Gonna take soak a few hits from the Mutalisks. The Vulture's gonna be laying some mines at the natural. There's not actually... Oh my god, is he just gonna get to the main base? He's gonna get to the main base. There's no defense. The Mutalisks need to come back. There's absolutely no defense up here. 3 drones down already. 4, 5 with +1 attack. It only takes 2 hits. He's losing all of his drones in his main. This is such a weird situation, but one of the factories is going to go down. Mutalisks have been brought back, but that's a ton of drone damage to take. Mitak is only down at 13 drones. TTF is on 33 SCBs. And he's turret pushing to his 3rd. Well, this is such a weird situation. Mine's going to stop the Lings from being able to come in to realistically deal with this. And he's going to expand to his 3rd base. TTF, despite losing his main, is not doing that badly. Mitak's economy is so far bruised. There's no Queen's Nest. There's still no drones at the main base even. I mean, some Lings are going to find this 3rd base attempt here. But the command center goes down. The turrets in the natural doing so much damage to the Zerg units here. But I think TTF maybe took a little bit too much damage. I mean, I'd love to see... Wow, wait. The Mutalisks are all dying. There's no way TTF holds on to this, right? This is such a crazy game. Oh my god. This is such a weird situation that... oh my god, the 2 Marines are killing Mutalisks. No upgraded Marines, just firing away. There is a single Goliath here. A lot of TTF's SCVs are going down, but the 3rd base is clear. There's a bunker up here now as well. The Mutalisks have all pretty much been cleaned up. TTF has held on, but I mean... Mitak is in such a supply lead now that doesn't matter. If finally TTF is actually lower on workers than his opponent. But the bunker here is going to be able to hold on against these Lings as long as he repairs it. Oh, he does need to repair the bunker. If you lose the bunker, you definitely lose the game, but lots of links coming into the natural as well. Oh, the mine could be devastating here. Oh, gets 3 of the Goliaths. That could be it. The Goliaths were pretty much all that was keeping TTF in this game. Gonna pick up his Goliaths against the links. So many more links running through into this third base. Lots of SCVs at the bunker, but the turret's being targeted down now. I mean, it doesn't really matter too much. There is drones transferring up to the main. That's such a weird position we're in. TTF is still trying to hold on. He's down at 15 workers. Lots of them are not mining. His bunker has gone down. The Marines have gone down as well. And I think with that, TTF is going to go down in this game. Mitak has played this out so weirdly, but it's worked out so well. And TTF, despite holding on against all odds, is going to go down here, dropping the Goliaths back behind the middle lane, holding on till the last breath. Definitely my favorite way of playing. A lot of links going down to... Oh, that would have been cool. But unfortunately not going to get the links as well, the drones as well. Now, TTF has hold on. He's down to 5 workers right now. But of course, as we all know, if a Terran is alive in the game, they have a chance of coming back. Mitak is up to 32 drones now, so his economy is starting to explode. And we actually have a Zerg over doubling our Terran supply here, so I think TTF is definitely on his last breath, using one of his only SCVs to repair his final Goliaths. This is how much of an awkward situation he's in, and Impotentia saying, is this fantasy playing? I think it very well may be. This is definitely reminiscent of like 2009, 2010 fantasy, and I love it. But unfortunately for TTF, I think he may be a little bit too far behind. And I think this command center is actually slightly off. Is it 1 hex off? You know what, I can't tell, I'm not even gonna guess. Now there is a vulture down here. It's unable to do any damage due to the sunken colony. Really nicely placed. There's a ton of mutless here. Let's have a check of the the upgrades. +2 carapace is done. The factory was floated away. TTF is back up at 12 workers. He's still trying to hold on. There is going to be a drop. Oh, it's a fake... Wait. It's a fake drop. Okay. Let's pull some of the mutless away. Look at this. The mutless are all flying after the drop. They think there's a lot of units in there, but... I mean, TTF has got all these units back at home. And even though this has been a crazy game, I think it's slowly but surely starting to come to an end. All of TTF's final buildings are going to go down to these mutless. There is absolutely no way he's going to have enough anti-air that can deal with this. Goliaths are not going to do well against +2 carapace. And that's very unfortunate. But TTF has held on like a hero. Scans going down everywhere. He sees the third base drones. He sees the natural drones. And now he sees the mutless that are going to come in and end this game. I really want to see an infest on this command center. I don't care. Don't kill it. No, he's going to kill it. Okay. Well, he gets the command center. Doesn't kill too many SCVs. TTF does have 1 mining base, but it's not enough. GG. TTF taps out and Mitak takes game number 4. Now, the important thing about that game is it does give a little bit more pride to pSi here, because it does give them a win on the board. It's always better to not get completely swept. But obviously, that is going to be the end of our first series for today. Let's have a quick look at the results, and then we'll get ready to head into the second one. The cast is going on a lot longer than I thought it would do, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So let's have a look here. Okay, so pSi with, aSh with the 3-1 victory over pSi here. Squall taking down Vesco, Dreamer taking down Praise, Hit 'em Up taking down Jim, and then Mitak taking down TTF to get a win on the board there for pSi. But unfortunately for them, it's another match loss, another match win for aSh. And that's going to take us into series number 2. It's going to be DM versus Net Wars, and that's going to be coming up after this break. See you guys very soon.